Today, we'll look at how to add barcode scanning capabilities to your web application. We'll first implement a basic scanner using QuaggaJS, a popular open-source library, and then explore an alternative solution using Scanbot SDK. Let's start with QuaggaJS. To build this scanner we just saw, we'll need to set up a few things. First, we'll create a basic HTML file structure. I'll open VS Code and create index.html. We'll also include the viewport meta tag to ensure proper display on mobile devices. We need a container for our camera feed, so let's add a div with the ID camera. Now we'll include the Quagga library from JSDeliver. Notice that we're using Quagga too, since the original QuaggaJS library is no longer maintained. Let's configure QuaggaJS. We'll create a configuration object that specifies our camera div as the target and sets up code 128 as our barcode format. Next comes the initialization function. We'll call quagga.init with our configuration and add an error handler. If initialization succeeds, we start the scanning process. We'll also add a simple function to alert us when a barcode is detected. Here's where we need to configure the video stream settings. We'll set it as a live stream type and define some constraints for the camera feed. I'm setting the minimum width to 640 pixels and height to 480 pixels. Keep in mind that lower resolutions will scan faster but might be less accurate. Let's make it look good. We'll add some basic CSS to ensure the video feed fits nicely on the screen. We'll set the width to 100% with a maximum of 640 pixels to match our camera constraints. Now, let's test our implementation. I'll scan a code 128 barcode. As you can see, it works, but there are some limitations. It only handles one-dimensional barcodes, and the performance can be inconsistent, especially with low-resolution cameras on desktop computers or budget smartphones. For production environments where reliable scanning is crucial, like with damaged barcodes or in challenging lighting conditions, you'll need a more robust solution. Let's look at the Scanbot SDK. Its machine learning-based scanning engine makes it particularly robust at reading damaged or poorly printed codes. It also supports all major barcode types, multi-scanning, and it comes with ready-to-use UI components. Let's start by downloading the SDK files. You can get these through the link in the description or via NPM. For this tutorial, we'll use the direct download to keep things simple. We'll start with a fresh HTML file. The SDK provides a ready-to-use UI component that we can configure with just a few lines of code. Let's configure our scanner. One advantage here is that we get built-in support for multiple barcode types without any extra configuration. We'll add the button to start the scanner. And import and initialize the Scanbot SDK. This executes the user interface from the Scanbot SDK when the user clicks the button. If a barcode is identified, it will present the barcode type and its contents to the user. Here's a cool feature. We can add an AR overlay that displays barcode contents directly in the viewfinder. It only takes 2 lines of code to enable this. Let's test our implementation with different types of barcodes. Notice how it handles multiple codes simultaneously and provides immediate feedback through the AR overlay. To test this locally, we'll need to run a simple HTTP server. You can do this using either Python or Node.js. And there you have it. 2 ways to implement barcode scanning in your web app. Whether you choose the open source route with QuaggaJS or need a more robust solution with Scanbot SDK, you now know how to get started. The complete code and documentation links are in the description below.